Start in staff pose. Legs are straight, feet are flexed, 90-degree angle at the hips. Spine is straight, neck is long. Your hands are flat against the mat to your sides, right at the hip. Roll your shoulders back and down. And start activating your Ujjayi breathing by constricting the back of your throat. The theme for today's class is we are strengthening and stretching the hamstrings, quadriceps, and hips. Set an intention for today's class. You can flutter your eyes open. Bring both heels out to the sides. We're going to do a wide leg forward fold so you can remove the flesh from your seat. Sit up nice and tall and hinge at the hips, keeping your back nice and straight. You can see here I can't really come too forward. I've got tight hamstrings. And also my hip bones don't allow too much movement in the front. But that's okay. From wherever you are, you should feel a nice stretch in the hamstrings and a nice opening in the hips. Slowly come up. We're going to take our right leg out in front of us and take your left leg over your right, so it's on the other side of your right knee. We're going to do a seated twist. So your left hand comes back behind you. You inhale your right arm up and twist to your left, hooking your right elbow onto your left knee. As you inhale, you're lengthening your spine, and as you exhale, you're twisting from the belly button to your left. So breathe into this nice twist. Come back to center and actually twist to the right side just a little bit, a nice counter twist. And we're going to set up on the other side. So left leg extends forward, foot is flexed. Your right foot goes over that other knee. Your right arm now goes back. Inhale your left arm up, twist to the right, hooking your left elbow to your right knee. Breathe and twist. Come back to center. Counter twist to your left. Now both legs extend out in front of you. Slowly lower down onto your mat. We're on our backs. You're going to bring your knees up. Bottoms of your feet are flat against the mat. Feet are hips width distance apart. We're going to take that right leg up, bring your right knee towards your chest, and hook your right ankle onto your left knee, making like a 4. We're going into half pigeon on our backs. You're going to reach through the hole you created with your leg with your right hand, and with your left hand, you're going to interlace your fingers at the knee And as you breathe, you're going to bring your knee closer to your chest. Flex both feet here to protect the knee joints. Try to keep your neck from straining, keep your shoulders down on the ground, keep your neck flat. And breathe as you bring your knee closer to your chest with each inhale and each exhale. Slowly come down, bringing both legs back onto the mat, and then switch sides. So now take your left leg up. So first bring your knees closer to your chest, and then connect your left ankle to your right knee. Reach through the hole, interlace your fingers, bringing that right knee closer to your chest. Feeling a nice stretch on the other side. It should be towards the back of the hip, the IT band. Slowly release this pose. Bringing your feet back down to the mat, knees are still up. Make sure your heels are close enough to your seat that you can brush your heels with the edges of your fingertips. Feet are hips width distance apart. We're setting up for bridge pose. So when ready, inhale your hips up, feeling it mostly in your quads, somewhat in your glutes. And then when ready, you can tuck your shoulders under, keep your neck flat, chin is slightly tucked, and interlace your hands underneath your seat. Bring your palms close together and breathe. Release your hands and slowly lower down one vertebrae at a time. Then bring your knees to your chest. Gently rock from left to right. Then rock up and down the length of your spine. We're going to come to a seated position from here, so you're rocking up. And from here, come to an easy seat position, so your knees are at the sides. Then you're going to rock forward onto your knees, untuck your feet, and now you are in a tabletop position. Just kind of wiggle around in table, do what feels good here. Make circles with your neck, shake your head yes and no, up and down. Come to a neutral spine, and we're going to lift our left leg out. So kind of like a dog at a fire hydrant. And hold it there. Breathing here. Bring your left leg back down, so you're in table again. Then inhale your right leg up, fire hydrant on the other side. Slowly come back down. Now inhale your left fire hydrant leg up and then exhale it down and switch sides. So inhale right leg up this time, exhale down. Keep alternating legs with your own breath. So inhale one leg up, exhale it down, then switch sides, inhale the other leg up, exhale it down. Keep going with your own breath. Come to a neutral spine. We're going to do some cat-cows. So inhale, gaze is up, belly is down, hips are up in cow pose. And as you exhale, you're lifting your middle and upper back up. Gaze is down at your belly button. You're hollowing out your core here. And then go with your own breath here. So inhale into cow, exhale to cat. All right, we're going to twist open to the left. So left hand is to the sky, gaze is up at the fingertips. Breathe, come down, switch to the other side. So now right hand goes up, fingertips to the sky, gaze follows fingertips. You might notice one side is a little more flexible than the other. That's okay. You're breathing into added flexibility here in this twist. Come back down to a neutral spine. Kick your feet back to plank. So fingers are splayed out, hands are under shoulders. You're fighting your heels back, a nice strong plank. You're twisting your tailbone back and down, which activates your core. If you need to, you can always come onto your knees here anytime we're in plank in this class. If you're on your knees, come back to plank. And we're going to lower down chaturanga. Elbows are at our sides. And we're just going to come right onto our bellies here. You can untuck your toes. We're going to keep our hands underneath our shoulders. We're going to have options here for our back bend during the vinyasas. So if you push up against your palms and your elbows are still bent, your gaze can be either forward or up. This is mini cobra. You can come back down and set up for full cobra. So if we push against our hands and extend fully, so our arms are now straight and the tops of our hips are coming off the mat, that is full cobra. Again, gaze can be forward or up for a little bit more of an intense bend in the back. You can come back down to the mat. We can set up for up dog. So if we push against our palms and lift our knees and our hips off the mat, and we're basically just balancing on the tops of our feet. Our chest is open. Gaze is forward or up, and you can roll over your toes into downward facing dog, the first of this practice. So the first dog is always very loose. You can bend one knee, stretching out the calf on the other leg. You can switch sides. You can wiggle around here. Neck should be loose, so you can shake your head yes, no, up and down. Strong arms here. A lot of weight in the thumb and first finger of each hand. Main thing with dog is our seats are high up. So if you need to put a little bend in your knees, that's fine, as long as it raises your seat up closer to the sky. We will use down dog as our resting pose between the more challenging poses here. So if you need to, when we reconnect with our breaths in down dog, you can always come to a child's pose. We're going to exhale our feet to our hands. You can either step or hop. Inhale up to a halfway lift, shoulders away from ears. Exhale down to a forward fold. Palms are flat against the ground, so you bend your knees as much as you need to. If your knees are bent, you are pushing up with your seat. So it's most important to get your belly onto your thighs here, not having straight legs. We're going to inhale, arms up, our gaze is following, and then we're going to exhale our hands to prayer at heart center. Shoulders are back and down here, and we're twisting our tailbone back and down as well, activating our core and our glutes. A nice strong modification to mountain pose here. Chin slightly tucked. Inhale, arms up. Come down to a forward fold. Lift up to a halfway lift. Bring your palms down, kick back or step back to a plank just for a second, and then carry that same exhale down, chaturanga, elbows at our sides. Inhale up to your back bend of choice, and then exhale over the toes to downward facing dog. We'll do another vinyasa here. So exhale, feet to hands, halfway lift, forward fold, arms up, overhead, prayer at heart center. Arms up, forward fold, halfway lift, hands connect with the mat, step back into plank, chaturanga, back bend of choice, again downward dog. We're going to inhale that right leg up and back. Toes are facing the ground, so don't open your hip here. You're fighting for height, but you're trying to use your hamstring. So now bend your knee and open your hip, but keep your shoulders square. So you're just trying to move your hip open. You're not trying to use any other part of your body here to get that hip more open. And once your hip is open, you can make circles with your ankle. If you're making circles, you can go the other way. Bring that foot back down to meet your other foot in downward dog. And then lift that left leg up now. Open the hip. Circles on the other side. Switch sides. Circles the other way. Come back to downward dog. Both feet on the mat. We're going to inhale that right leg up. We're going to exhale, kick it through to meet your hands. Spin that back heel down so that your foot is at a 45-degree angle to the mat, and come up to a nice strong warrior one. So there's a 90-degree bend in that front leg. Back leg is straight and strong. You're putting a lot of weight into the back edge of that back foot. And your hips are squaring off here. So you want both hips to face the front of the mat. Arms are up, shoulders are down, away from the ears. Biceps are hugging the ears, palms are facing each other. Bend a little more into that front knee. Now straighten that front leg, and we're going to set up for triangle. So if you need to, you can kick that back leg forward just a little bit, and bring your right arm down to the front leg, to the shin, or wherever it meets, and then left arm is up, gazes up at the sky. Your hips do open here as well, and you're opening your chest, and you're feeling a nice stretch in your side body as well. Transition back into warrior one from there, rebending into the front knee, just connecting with the pose for a second, a few breaths. Bring your hands back down to the mat, nice and flat. Kick your leg back to downward dog. Breathe here, connect with your breath here. If you're in child's, come back to downward dog. We're going to inhale that left leg up now and do the sequence on the other side. So kick it through to your hands, spin your back heel down, 45-degree angle, come up to warrior one on the other side. Making micro adjustments to your posture here, same as on the other side. Breathe into the pose. Straighten that front leg and come into triangle on the other side. Stretching out the hamstrings. Come back up to warrior one, connecting with the pose for a second, a few breaths. Hands down to the mat, kick it back to downward dog. Reconnect with the breath here. If you're in child's pose, come back to downward dog. On your next exhale, bring feet to hands. Flat back. Forward fold. Arms up overhead. Mountain with prayer. Arms up. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Kick it back to plank, lower down chaturanga with the same exhale. Inhale up to your back bend of choice, and then exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up. Exhale, kick it through to meet your hands. Come right up to a crescent lunge. So 90-degree angle in that front leg. Back leg is straight and strong, pushing your heel towards the back of the room. Arms are up, shoulders are down, away from your ears, biceps hugging. Lower your knee right down to the mat. So the back knee comes right back down to the mat. If you have a pad here, I recommend getting one. You can untuck your back toes. And what you want to do is you want to feel a stretch in that left hip. So you can bring your knee forward or back. Just keep your hips square, facing the front of the mat. And bend slightly forward. Right arm can be on that right knee. Left hand can be on top of right. It can be towards the ground. It can be on your forearm. What you're doing here is you're positioning yourself so that you feel a nice stretch in that front psoas muscle, the front hip. Breathing into the stretch. From here, we're going to bring our back heel towards our seat, and we're going to reach back with our left hand and grab our foot. So now we're transitioning into a quad stretch. So again, fight your hips to square off to the front of the mat, and breathe as you stretch out that front quad, the left quad, and bring your back heel closer to your seat. If you need to, you can heel toe your front foot to the edge of the mat, just adding a little bit of stability in this balance and stretch. You can release your foot to the mat, frame your front foot with your hands, retuck your back toes, and just kick it right back to a downward dog. Kind of moving around here with your hip, bring some blood back into it. Inhale your left leg up, swing it through to meet your hands, rise up to a crescent lunge on the other side. Micro adjustments here in the pose. Lower that back knee down to the mat, down to the cushion if you have one. And we're going to set up for the psoas stretch on our right front hip. So again, position your knee where you need to so that as you rock forward a little while keeping your hips square, you're feeling a nice stretch in the front hip. Bring your right heel towards your back seat. Swing your right hand back to grab the top of your foot and transition into a quad stretch on the other side. If you don't have one, bring a smile to your face as you breathe and stretch. Frame that front foot with your palms. Tuck those back toes, kick back to downward dog. You can get rid of the cushioning if you added any. If you need to, you can come to downward dog. I'm sorry, I mean child's pose here. You can also take some movement to open your hips. If you're in child's, come back to downward dog. Exhale, feet to hands. Inhale up to a flat back. Exhale down to a forward fold. Your next inhale brings your arms up overhead. Prayer at heart center. Inhale your hands back up. Flat back down to a forward fold again. Halfway lift. Step or hop back to plank and chaturanga. Back bend. And downward dog. Inhale up that right leg. Kick it through to meet your hands. Spin your back heel so that your foot is perpendicular to your mat or parallel to the back edge, and swing your arms right up into a warrior two. We're going to check our posture here. So a nice 90-degree bend in that front knee. It's not collapsing in towards your big toe, so you're kind of pushing it out towards the left edge of that front foot. I'm sorry, the right edge of that front foot. Your back leg is straight and strong, putting a lot of weight into the back edge of that back foot. Your arms are nice and strong at a T. So check your back arm, make sure it's not too high up or down. Flip that front palm and come into a reverse warrior. Feeling a nice stretch in your side body. Back to warrior two. Bring your torso forward and then hook your front elbow to that front knee. Don't put a lot of weight there. And then bring the other arm, your back arm, up overhead, fingers to the sky. Gaze is following your fingertips. Side angle pose. Come back up to warrior two. Windmill your hands to the mat and kick your front leg back to downward dog. Inhale up the other leg. Exhale, kick it through to meet your hands. Windmill your arms to warrior two on the other side, checking your posture. Micro adjustments here. Flip that front palm, bringing it back to reverse warrior. Back to warrior two. Torso forward. Connect elbow to knee. Back hand goes up, fingertips to the sky, gazes up, side angle on the other side. Come back to warrior two. Windmill your hands flat to the mat. Kick it back to downward dog. Connect with your breath here. A few breaths. Inhale your right leg up. Exhale, kick it through. Windmill back to warrior two. With your next breath, reverse the warrior. With your next breath, you're coming back to warrior two, then side angle pose. Back to warrior two, windmilling down and kicking it back to downward dog. Then you're raising the other leg up, kicking that through, windmilling up to warrior two, reverse warrior, back to warrior two, side angle pose on the other side, warrior two, windmilling down and kicking it back to downward dog. So you're doing one movement per breath at your own pace here, so play around. When you're done, meet me in child's pose. For a more active child's pose, you can push against your palms, activating your shoulders and the upper back, and bringing your seat closer to your heels. Or you can let it all go and connect your elbows to the mat. From here, come up to a tabletop position and then raise up into downward dog. Bring your feet to your hands, flat back, forward fold. Inhale, arms up overhead, prayer at heart center. Arms up, come down to a forward fold. We're going to stay here in a forward fold because we're going to set up for standing splits. So when ready, you can kick that right leg back. And you want to have your toes facing the ground. So you don't want to open your hip here. You want to use your hamstring strength and your quads and your core strength and your glutes here, mostly hamstring in this standing split. Make sure there's no strain in your neck so you can shake your neck up and down, left and right. Fight for height here and breathe. Bring that right foot down. Take a few breaths. And then inhale the left leg up and back. Standing split on the other side. Fighting for height. Fighting for strength. Bring your left leg down, resting in a forward fold still. Just kick your feet right back into a downward dog. Inhale your right leg up behind you. Open your hip. So you're bringing your heel towards your seat and then opening the hip. And make circles with that leg. Go the other way and then bring that foot down. Now inhale your left leg up. Bend your knee. Open the hip, making circles. Bend it to the other side. And then bringing that foot down. We're going to inhale our right leg up again. We're going to exhale and we're going to bring our knee right behind our right hand, setting up for full pigeon. So your left leg comes down, knee to the mat, extends out directly behind you. Toes are pointed back. And you're going to lower down forward onto your hands, then if your forearms, if you're stretchy enough. Maybe even bringing your head down to rest on your forearms in front of you. If this is too much, you can come onto your back and do half pigeon. Breathe here into the IT band stretch on the right side. Slowly start to come up. If you're all the way down onto your forearms first and then the flats of your palms, retuck those back toes and come right back into a downward dog. Taking some movement here in the hips. So you can kick that right foot back and up, open the hip, making circles, then going the other way, bringing the fluid into that IT band. Bring your right leg down and lift your left leg up now. And we're going to kick it through so that your left knee is behind your left hand. Our right leg kicks back straight behind us. And we're going to slowly lower down onto our forearms if we can. And then further down, getting our head onto our rest on our forearms. Slowly start to come up out of the pose onto the flats of your palms, retucking the back toes, kicking that front leg back into downward dog. We're going to inhale our left leg up now, bring our heel to our seat, and open up that hip, making circles one way, and then the other. And bringing that leg back down to downward dog. We're going to lower our knees right to the mat, kick our heels off to one side, onto our seats. We're going to bring the flats of our feet together. Knees are splaying out to the sides. You can bring your heels closer to the middle of your body. And we're going to come into cobbler's pose. So grab the bottoms of your feet with both hands and use your elbows to push against your legs, bringing your knees closer to the ground. Sit up nice and tall with a nice straight spine. And then hinge at the hips forward, keeping a nice strong lower back. We're not rounding our back. Come back up. Kick your legs straight out in front of you. We're going to slowly lower down now onto our backs, but we're going to be here for just a second because we're bringing our knees up. Our feet are flat against the mat. And we're going to go into wheel if it's in your practice. Otherwise, go right into bridge, lift up. Slowly start to come back down onto your mat. Bringing our knees to the chest, squeezing, rocking left and right. With your knees still where they are, bring your arms to a T. And we're going to take both of our knees to our left-hand side. So keep your knees together, twisting with the middle of your back. Bring your knees back to the center, and then onto the other side. Bring your knees back to center. What you're going to do is you're going to exhale them to one side, inhale them back to center, exhale them to the other side, and keep alternating. So inhale back to center, exhale to one side, etc. to your own breath. Bring your knees up back to center. Bring the bottoms of your feet up to the sky and grab the outer edges of your feet with your hands. Happy baby. Rock from left to right, massaging your sacrum here. And push your knees with your hands towards your armpits. As you're rocking left, you're bringing your left knee towards your left armpit. As you rock right, right knee towards your right armpit. Opening up the hips a little more here, massaging. Hug your knees into your chest, give them a nice squeeze. And then lower your legs to the mat, letting them fall out to the sides. Arms are spread out to the sides, palms are up. You can deactivate your Ujjayi breathing here. Breathe however you need, however you want. Shavasana. You may be disappointed if you fail, but you are doomed if you don't try. Beverly Sills. Come back to your physical body, introducing some slight movement. Extending hands overhead. A nice stretch from fingertips to toes. Bring your knees to your chest. And then roll over to your right side, resting your right cheek on your right bicep, left palm to the floor. With arms still closed, push off with your left hand and come to a comfortable seated position at the top of your mat. Chin slightly tucked. Thank yourself for coming to the mat today and being kind to your mind and your body. The light in me shines in the light in you. Namaste.